Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Serious Strategy Gamer, and we are starting a new series today on Unity of Command, the Stalingrad campaign. So, Unity Command is a strategy game where we will be playing as the Axis, so as the Germans and the Allies. This time, other than Strategic Command, where we of course played the Allies last time, so in Unity of Command here in 1942, we will be playing the Germans. So this is a very interesting time for the Germans because this is really the last time where they did play where they used large-scale maneuver warfare. After in 1941 they did run into the Soviet Union in Operation Barbarossa. That was a very good success early on, but it did hamper out towards the end for the Germans. So in 1942 it was really the last time that they were able to do a very strategic push, and this is exactly the campaign that plays around. So let's start out with the first scenario here, the Second Battle of Kharkov, and we can see that the battle here is a misjudged Soviet offensive at Kharkov strikes right into the teeth of the main Axis force assembling there for the summer campaign. Following a brief scare, Germans recognize the opportunity and move in for the kill. So our job is to, with the divisions available in this sector, encircle and then decisively crush the enemy. Use your reserves sparingly. You want to keep as much of your prestige as possible for the future. We need victory within 9 turns. Within 6 turns it would be a decisive victory. And if we would like to get a brilliant victory, we would need to get the objectives, marked over here, within even smaller time frames. So within 4 turns we would need to get over here to these 2 objectives, and within 5 turns to this objective. So that is going to be extremely tough, and I don't think we will be able to do that. So this is probably not going to be the nicest, biggest, most badass playthrough that you've ever seen. So this is going to be more of a relaxed one. So let's see what we can do, and let's talk about the game and how our strategic thinking here evolves. Before we do that though, I do think that we do want to change up the audio just slightly, don't we? I know, it's fine. Okay, let's continue. So, the way that this works is you have different units, and I do actually love the art style over here. So, this is a unit. It has 6 levels of strength. This one has 4 levels of strength. Currently, one of them is disabled, so that one of them is not ready. So, this one, on the face of it, is a little bit stronger. All of these units, as you can see, they do turn a little bit, so I really like that. All of these units do have an attack value, a defense value, some movement points. You can basically move up 3 tiles, and these ones do carry some more movement points because they are currently under bad weather, I think. Yes, indeed. And we can move even a little bit further, but then we wouldn't be able to attack. So this is you move, then you attack, and so on. It's fairly simple in that regard, but it gives rise to an immense variety of strategic options, and that I think makes for a very good game. So easy to understand, very difficult to master. One of the most important aspects in any World War II game and many strategic games is supply. So the way supply works in this game is you have different supply sources. We have got 4 over here in total, and these do have a range. So for example, the supply source here has a range of 2, which means you are in supply if you're within 2 tiles of this supply source. So over here and here you would be in range. Rail lines, so these black dotted lines, do propagate that supply. So as you know, supply emancipates from here over here. Within 2 hexes you would still be in supply, but this is forest, so this is a little bit more difficult to pass through. So over here you aren't in supply. Likewise, bad weather, so this is muddy, so this gets reduced by 1. But basically, as long as you keep close to the rail line, you will be fine. That being said, we do want to advance over here, and this is very far away from these rail lines, so we wouldn't be able to do that. However, as you can see down here, there's another supply source of range 10, and that is much better. So that even ranges up all the way to over here, and you can even see some of its effects are still over here. So this is very, very important, and we do want to link that up to the rest of the rail network, so that if we would have this connected up, all of this would probably be within supply range. So one of the most important aspects will be to connect up the rail lines over here and capture this Soviet territory. So that is something that we do need to think about quite early on, I think. We also do, of course, have terrain. You did probably see some of these rivers earlier. There's the Dnieper, some of these otherwise, Don, I think. Well, some muddy terrain, so marshes, some forests over here. There are some bridges here, 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 and here. We can also build some more additional bridges at these points where there's that little crossing that we can see over here, but that we can only do if we control both sides of the terrain. There's a little bit of bad weather, specifically here in the east, that we will be needing to be mindful about. So, 4 turns to get these two, 5 turns to get this one. This is really going to be extremely tough. We'll have to see whether we can do that at all. So we'll have to use all of our forces here to push strongly, and we'll need to cross the river while we're doing that, and this little forest. So this is going to be complicated, and we'll have to see about that. But down here in the south, there is an opportunity, I think, because if we look at the enemy supply sources, they do only have one over here, that ranges up to here. But there's only one point where it can actually cross the river, and crossing the river is actually difficult. As you can see over here, there's no supply at this point where it would need to cross the river. So what I would really like to do is get these 2 hexes at the very least to cut off the supply of these guys here potentially. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one of our panzer divisions, one of our tanks, and we're going to attack over here into this Soviet front. So way combat works is you are presented with an estimated result, so we would be estimated to lose no one, they'd be estimated to lose 3 strength points. There are some modifiers, they are dug in as denoted by that little orange symbol, so yeah, I think that would be nice. There's a 70% chance that they will be retreating and a 10% chance that we will be overrunning them. Overrunning means we'd be having another attack after that, so let's try that out. Very good, so good results over here. We were reduced a little bit, so we did suffer 2 suppression points, so that fared a little bit worse than expected. On the other hand, we have pushed them back, so that's very nice. They we were able to throw them back, so that's nice to see. We could follow up on that. We do have another strike. Striking on the right over here wouldn't be too good, and that's mainly because these guys are supplied with extra divisions. We could do an attack over here, which wouldn't be the best, so let's instead try to bring forward maybe our motorized division or our mech. So let's bring forward our tanks. They can attack, and you can see we have an 80% chance. Destroyed, yeah, but destroyed, and we did not get the 80% chance to actually overthrow them, so that's not that great. Can move the tanks up a little bit further, that'd be good. Let's attack these cavalry division, just do some damage, and come up with the motorized division all the way to the front. So that's very nice. We have now cut off the enemy entirely. We will need to be extra careful because we are in a very precarious situation now, and we will need to reinforce that. But they will be receiving very little, if any, supply. Now, ideally, if we remember the terrain, there's a possibility to build a bridge over here, and I would like to get this hex. Unfortunately though, these guys are dug in, and we only have infantry over here, and infantry is much worse at attacking than our tanks were, so we'll have to think about that a little bit. We also need to make sure that we can attack in the north, so it would be good to start an attack over here. It would not be having the greatest success because they are dug in an air attack. And again, we do really need to make sure that we are pushing up over here. So what I do want to do is start out with an attack on this cavalry division, and that was a very good attack actually. Suppressed them quite a bit. Still, we are suffering more damage than we expected over here. Okay, let's move you up a little bit. Move you back in here. Finish these guys off. Fortunately, we were not able to do enough damage there, I think. So I can try to do some damage here, and we can try to overrun them. Destroyed, overrun, very good result. That does mean we can bring up our other tank division over here, and then we can do another air attack. 3 units suppressed, that's very good. And there we go, destroyed that tank division, so that is an extremely good result for us. We can even push up with our tanks all the way to the front over here, and that I appreciate a lot. So firstly, let's bring these guys in over here. do some damage against the guys in the north, bring up our tanks, try to finish them off. We are overrunning them, very good result. And then do some damage against these guys with the tanks down there. Very, very good stuff for us. Let's move back into position over here, and then we do have a couple of divisions down here that should potentially move up. Specifically these guys. So we haven't forced the crossing yet, and this tank division here is a little bit weak, but all in all I'm pretty happy with that result up here. So that does leave us with one more attack, which we will be spending down here. Very little damage done, but we do need to be aggressive over here, so let's try to attack. It's not going great. Do we have anyone else? Yeah, we could move you up. Okay, let's do that. Move this guy up. Attack this one. Breached. Now we are breaching them. And we can move up, so that's great. We have now all of this terrain, and we can now build this bridge, which is perfectly fine for us. Very good. So over here though, we do need to make sure that these tanks will not be breaking through towards this city, so let's move that guy up, which I think is okay. Could move up over here, but I don't think these guys will be able to do enough damage there, so I think I'm happy with where that guy is. So that does leave the situation down here in the south, and this is a very important decision that we're now about to take. So firstly, let's move up our divisions here. I don't think we should be attacking, not with the weather as bad as it is. Can move these guys up a little bit, but most importantly, our supply source down here really shouldn't fall. So it is kind of expected that the Russians would attack down here. This is a weak position. We do have some infantry down here, which is actually decent at defending, but we also have these Gebirgsjägers, which are a little bit worse at defending actually, so that is something that we do need to be mindful of. So firstly, I think it would make sense to move these Jägers up over here, move the Gebirgsjägers up over here, the proper infantry over here. So that does leave us with a decent position here, I think. Could actually move you all the way back over here. Yeah, I think that makes sense. So, right. So now this position here is strengthened. This is still a weak spot. As you can see, these guys really aren't the greatest. And I think it makes sense to move this guy here. I would also love to move him over here to cut off their supply potentially, but I think this way is going to be okay. So, without further ado, let's end the turn then and see what the Soviets are going to do. So typically they are repositioning some of their units. You can see that they are sort of forming the defensive line over here, and they're bringing tanks down here to the south. All of these guys are now out of supply, but it will take some turns for that to be coming fully into effect. And they do attack, of course, the weakest point in our line. Destroyed! Okay, that was horrible. That is extremely horrible for us. That's a very bad result. Very heavy casualties up here as well. And they did manage to re-establish a connection and take out one of our units. And actually cut us off, because now we will be out of supply, so this really isn't great. Doubly ungood. Right, so let's see what we can do about this, and what we can do up here in the north. So firstly, I would like to take out these tanks really, but again, the most important situation is down here, so I think it might make sense to start out with our tanks. Okay, let's start out with the infantry. Killing one guy, that's good. Killing two more. Destroyed, overrun, that's good. We can now attack these tanks. Do we want to attack these tanks with these guys? I think it is prudent to use one of our air attacks against this guy. Yes, very good result. We can attack it again, taking more damage there than I expected to. That's fine. We should now be able to destroy them, as we are. So that's good. That's a decent result, I would say. So far, so good. Does mean we can probably move up some of our divisions over here. Deal some more damage against them, as we should. And then think about what we can do about these tanks up here. We also have a lot of attacks that we can do down here, but that I think we should take a moment to consider. Right, really these tanks are one of the biggest threats. Can attack into here. Let's try to reduce these guys a little. Because we would actually very much like to get these rail lines on our side. These guys here are Romanian infantry, which is why they are a little bit different color. And they aren't actually the greatest, so the German allies here at this period of the war were not the most reliable, unfortunately, for the Germans. Right, at least we have now established, you can see even against the unsupplied guys, they'd be suffering horrendous casualties. But all in all, this line looks somewhat okay. Still, only this tank here is causing us a lot of issues. So I'm tempted to bring back our tanks here, but we still need to push. We need to continue pushing up here. And you can see the AI is starting to guard its flanks over there. Yeah, we could attack across the river, but that would spell doom for us, basically. So you guys are still fine. Attacking across the river, these guys are very much entrenched, so it doesn't really make sense to attack them. Could come up with a motorized division and try to take out their tanks. Could start to do some damage against these guys. I'd really like to come up with my tank division from down here towards over there. It's just not viable. Okay, let's do as much damage down here as we can, so that we can try to advance on this city over time at least. You guys have all moved, so that's okay. So that really does leave only this tank. So let's try in the north first. You could attack this one. It would not be enough to drive them back. You could attack, that would be pointless. Why though? Weather's not that bad. Well, could attack these tanks, but we really need the supplies up here, so well, firstly could move up over here with this tank, and it would do some damage against their tank. So, you know what, we do still have a lot of air support, so 2 killed in action, that's very good. Destroyed, there we go, and we have now the full rail line. So that is very, very good force. Good stuff. I like that. Good, so the situation now in the south is clear, so that does mean we are free to act in the north. We do have 1 air support attack. We do have our tanks. We could try to rush over here, but I think the tank effect is negated due to the fact that we would be facing a river crossing, so I think that's not the ideal thing to do. On the other hand, yeah, again in the woods you can see our effect would be negated, but we'd still be very good at attacking, so that might still be a viable thing to do. Again, on the other hand, you know what, let's attack over here, hope that we will be doing some damage, and as I said that of course we are not doing any, and we are suffering way worse casualties than was predicted, so that was not very good for us. We could bring our tank over here, then we wouldn't be able to attack this turn. I don't think it's that useful. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to attack over here, and then we are going to bring it over here, and then we are at least on the other side of this little town, so that would be good. This attack, pointless for now. Let's come up over here. Some attacks that we could do. Okay, yeah, let's start to do some damage. Okay, I'm fine with this. So we are building up a line, more of a line actually. So that's good. Could attack over here. We could start to attack these guys, but they're way too strongly dug in. So I don't think that's that worthwhile. Let's actually attack over here and cross over here the river, because then we are now threatening this key location and this rail line. So yeah, that I think is very good for us actually. So what we can then do is bring up this infantry, attack into there. That's good. Bring up these guys, do more damage, and now I'm a little bit stuck because that position here should also be reinforced. Well, what we can certainly do is bring up these tanks. Not quite sure whether we want to bring them all the way up there. Okay, these guys are a little bit out of supply, so let's bring them up. And you are now taking their place. So yeah, very good defensive line over here. These guys could attack into there. That wouldn't be really useful for them, I think, so could actually switch these two guys. But they... Oh. So they could completely flank us, specifically with the cavalry. Yeah, I overlooked that. So what have we got over here? Likewise though with these guys. Yeah, we overextended ourselves a little bit, I think, so that is a problem. But wait a minute, we can attack this guy, destroy him. We are losing some equipment. That means this position is now actually free, so can move up at least somewhat. So let's move the tanks up here. Move you down here. And you guys are all moving up one space. Yeah, I think that's... Well, you could cut them off. But would it do you any good? I don't think so. Yeah, so I'm fine with this. Let's end the turn. They are now attacking down here, interestingly enough. Yeah, as I thought. Oh, but they'll now reestablish themselves over here, I think. Which isn't the worst. That does mean these guys will lose their entrenchment bonuses. So that's not the worst. And these guys here are out of supply. Strongly out of supply, so that's good. Next turn, these guys will lose all of their organization. And that's going to be brilliant. Partisans, these are largely meaningless, so I'm not going to comment on them too much. Right, and here we go, turn 3. I think the situation in the north is still the most relevant. Could attack over here. Some of these attacks are not really great. What are you? Anti-tank? Yeah. Well, and the situation up here is alright. And down here we might actually be able to take them out completely. Could attack here, but we only need to hold, so for now that's fine. So yeah, let's concentrate on the north first, because these are the objectives that we do need to take very quickly. So I think first is to cross the river. That's a pretty obvious target. So yeah, I think breaking through over here will allow our tanks to circle back through here. So that would be an important objective. I think it's prudent to take out this cavalry, or at least try to. Can't do that much against this cavalry for now, because it's fairly strong over here. Ideally I'd like to swap these two guys, because we are not that great. Let's take them out. Overrun. Good. Destroyed. Also very nice. Good stuff. Okay, so now we should be able to move you up. Do some damage against this cavalry. Losing horrible casualties over there. I would like this tank to... Okay, let's bring up this tank. Let's attack. 2 killed in action. That's good. Now we are more likely to take them out entirely. Can we bring you up all the way over there? We cannot. It's a little bit unfortunate. We can take the Jaegers though. 2 killed in action? Okay. Now we are really likely to overrun them, and of course we are not. Extremely unfortunate result over there. Okay, let's not overextend ourselves there. I don't want to rush in and then be cut off. So these guys are starting to lose some strength, but they are not out of steam yet, so we need to be mindful there. Okay, some casualties inflicted on this guy. It would be good to take out the cavalry specifically. Let's move up here. Destroyed, overrun, that's nice. Can't attack there though. Maybe these guys will be able to do some damage. Yes, they are. Very good. Just do more and more damage against these guys. Without taking everyone in. Okay, so some Romanians have to sacrifice them. Good stuff. He'll be able to do some damage without taking any, supposedly. Of course, the exact opposite happens. Okay, and you know what? So you can move up. Do I want to move you up? So firstly, maybe let's bring you over here. You can go there. That in turn means all of you guys can move up a little bit. There we go, destroyed. Very nice. All of you guys have moved up, as we can see by the lack of these little arrows. So that's fine. And down here we should be able to push forward a little bit, so that's good to see. Can attack these guys. So I think we will be able to go over here without being too aggressive. Move up there as well. That's good. Do they have a supply source up here? They do. That's unfortunate. Okay, so we are cutting into the situation in the north over here. We don't need that many people over here. I think that's going to be alright. With our tanks down here, could attack there, but I think it would be better to start to do some more immediate damage against them. On the other hand, 4 killed in action there, that's a very good result. And then what we're going to do is bring up these tanks so that they can start their offensive against these lines up here. Can move there, hopefully do some damage. Damn it, I would have hoped that we can kill that guy. Because we cannot allow them to take on our supply sources. Can I do damage against this one? I would really, really love to do. Okay, let's start out with the north then and see whether we do have an air attack left to deal with these guys. Up here then. So, all in all, our infantry is pretty weak. They have exhausted themselves a little bit. It'd be great to take them out. It would be great to take this guy out as well, but he's way too well entrenched. Really need to break this line. And you can see the AI is doing something so well here. Okay, we can go here. I think that would be good. So let's move you here. Move the tanks into here. Then we can see we could do a lot of damage against these guys. We'd be 90% sure to completely overrun them. So let's try that. Destroyed, overrun, very good, just one suppression. Not quite as be likely to overrun these guys. So, you know what, let's try with one air attack to see. Destroyed, overrun, very good. That does leave us with one more attack, which we are doing over there. And yeah, let's do this just to weaken them. And then we can come up here, and that's okay. Good. We don't have any attack left with these tanks, but we do with the infantry. Again, the infantry is not the best. Still, it might make sense to pull you back. Come across the river. Do an air attack against these guys. without effect. Still, let's try that again. To suppression. Good result there, so I'm happy about that. Don't want to take 2 losses with this guy because then he'll be gone. Or basically gone. Right, and you might have to stay here just to... On the other hand, if these guys were to cross the river, I wouldn't be too unhappy actually. Still, it doesn't make sense to attack there, so... Could try to bring you up here, but I don't think we'd be able to do any attack, so let's stay over here and just wait for them to attack. We can't build any bridges, we can destroy bridges. We could build this bridge, but that's pointless, and I don't think we want to destroy bridges, so that's basically fine. So that does leave us with the question of what we are to do down here. I think it makes sense to try and attack. We should not have taken any losses, but of course we did. Can try to attack the city itself. Don't think that makes too much sense now. We're not in that urgent a situation, so let's just deal some damage against these guys up there, and that's alright. Good. End turn. I realize we are going on to the end of our time over here, but I do want to finish at least this episode and just see how skillfully they are re-establishing lines all the time, and at the, in the moment cutting off our supplies. Right. They are blunting our Jägers there. That's no good. Partisans, again, that's largely irrelevant. These guys are now entirely out of supply, so they'll be easy to push over. Even with our remaining guys, so that's fine. Good. What else can we do? These guys are out of supply, these guys are out of supply. It is turn 3, or sorry, turn 4, so... Turn 4, yes, so that is when we do need to capture both of these territories. So let's see whether that is viable. So firstly, I think what we will have to do is move these guys up here, see how much damage we can do against this position, and then see what we can bring against these guys down here. And that's going to be very tough because we'll have to break through a lot of things there. A lot of units in our way. So firstly, these guys here are a problem. 3 suppressed, that's very good. 1 killed. 1... Oh, very good. So we did cause them to withdraw. And that means we can bring up our tanks towards over here and do some damage against them. Let's use another air attack against these guys. Ha! That didn't do us any good, but we can move up these infantry dudes. Take an attack up here. Overrun them. Very nice. Can we bring up anyone? We can. Infantry as well. Why not do that then? Okay, so firstly you still have attacks. But yeah, let's bring up the infantry. Here we go, first objective taken on this turn, so that's very good. There are of course still a lot of enemies here, so that is something that we do need to be mindful of. Deal some damage. Be losing there. You can't move back. I should maybe not have moved you in, because then I could have moved the tank over there. Huh. Now we are a little bit screwed. Okay, let's move you in, because I think then the tank will be able to move there. Yes, indeed. And we are going to use the last of our air attacks against this guy. Again, not doing any damage. Huh. Ah, this is so annoying. I don't think we'll be able to take them out. Let's move over here. Let's try to take them out. And can we move in? Yes, we can. Very nice. Good stuff. So potentially brilliant attack over here. Brilliant victory. Should we stay over here though? I think we might. Right, let's go down the southern front then. I think this might be more sensible. Although they are weak, they are considered weak, so they don't have a zone of control, so let's attack these guys. They are now also considered weak. That's good, of course, for us. And see what we can down here then. So, who's the strongest? You are, because you still have 6. And you would still lose horribly, horribly against these guys. We don't have any air attacks left, so there's no point trying to attack here for now. Let's attack this guy then. You again wouldn't do any good. Let's destroy them then. Come up over there. Can't cross, you can't cross. Let's move you up then. Can we do more damage against these guys here then? Destroyed, overrun, nice. Destroyed, not overrun, unfortunate. We'd be losing some things, but we are also doing some damage. So that's okay. Oh, you can't attack, right. Well then, so that does leave these gentlemen down here. Also, let's look at the supply situation. Yeah, our supply's fine. We have captured both of these areas, so we'd be actually going for a brilliant victory here if we can achieve that. So that would be great. Okay, let's do some damage against these guys. Oh, we're taking horrendous losses, but I'm fine with that as long as we are doing... As long as we are making sure that we are reaching our strategic objectives. Okay, no attacks on any of you except for you. And a little bit awkward situation up here. We could move this guy. I mean, they shouldn't be able to circle around us. But they might be taking out this guy, so... yeah, I think I would like to keep it that as is. We could come here. That would cut them off from supply. All of these guys up here, certainly. Well, mostly. That might not be too bad. You are also able to move, so let's move you up here. We're going to keep you up here because I think these guys will be relatively weak at attacking. Let's bring the motorized division up here, so yeah. Cutting them off from supply, that's great. No bridges, no meaningful bridges, yes. And turn. Air attack over there. Interesting. Ooh, so they might be doing a counterattack against our victory position there. I wonder whether we will be able to hold that, so I don't think we will. But will it count as them losing? Yeah, so I don't think that's going to be a brilliant victory then. God damn it. So close actually. You're getting reinforcements even. That is very, very unfortunate. Right. So let's see what we can do. First bomb these guys. Bomb them again. No effect really. None whatsoever. Okay, let's see what we can do. 3. We're taking some losses here. They're still entrenched. That's of course a pity. Yeah, all of these attacks would fail horribly. 1 killed. Still no significant breakthrough there, so let's take 1 more attack. 3 suppressed. There we go. Now they are breached, so that means they are out of supply. Can go in there, that's fine, we have taken that. So that does leave the question what we can do up here. Let's simply attack. And try to take them out, destroyed, and move in. Very good. Decisive victory. Unfortunately, very, very close to a brilliant victory over here. But yeah, still, we did earn a lot of prestige, so that's fine. And that does mean we can continue our campaign. That, of course, is going to have to wait until next episode. So for now, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Bye-bye.